Hannibal or Hannibal, who was known as the greatest statesman of Carthage, was also a worshipper of Baal, which is clearly seen from his name, which translates as glorified to the deity Baal. Hannibal born Chenubacola in Punic 247 to 183 BC, also meaning the grace of Baal, was from Carthage, which is near Tunis in Tunisia, which is an ancient city and state of northern Africa on the Bay of Tunis, which is now northeast of Modem, Tunis. The city itself was founded by the ancient Phoenicians in the 9th century and was part of Tamari, Egypt. Phoenicia is actually a name given by the Greeks to describe what they saw. The name Phoenicia or Phoenicia actually means land of palm trees, and covers the area of Lebanon, Syria, and Israel today. The word Phoenician actually means purple or indigo from the Middle English word Phoenician, from Middle French word Phoenician from Latin Phoenix. This means it could also be translated as the land of purple, and when talking about people, that would be the blue people like those of Africa's Sahara Desert today who wear a certain type of blue fabric and the dye doesn't really set in the cloth and comes off on the wearer. Thus you have the blue-veiled men of the Sahara. Today they are called the Tuareg, who came down from North Africa to the Sahel. They are the original Moors, black or blue indigo Phoenicians of Carthage of northeastern Africa. Libya and Tunis were both part of Egypt. Some of their descendants are in the Carolinas as Cherokee, Georgia as Yamasee, and in Florida as the Seminole. All of the Yuchi or Creek nations known as the Gullah or Geechee and Wali, Indians, coming from the word Indios, people of Dios, or the deity's people as the Spanish called them. In parts of Georgia and Florida, the Gullah people still use this blue dye for their clothes. The word indigo comes from Spanish indigo and Dutch indigo from the Portuguese indego, both of which are from Latin indicum, from Greek indicon, pharmakon, Indian, dye, from indicos, of India, from India, from Indos, the Indus River, from Old Persian word Hindu. In Africa, they roam the desert as Berbers. The Wodabi are also from this tribe, and many share the same physical features as those called African Americans, who are really Moors or African, black Native Americans called Black Indians by the Spanish. After 1636 AD, any indentured servants who were black Native Americans, Moors, were forced to be slaves for life, unless a contract was signed previously stating something different. In this year, the first victim of legal slavery was a black Massachusetts Native American. Many escaped to neighboring tribes, being native to America. Those that came from Africa were eventually aided by neighboring tribes and escaped to St. Augustine, Florida, and even to Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mose, or Fort Mose for short. The two people mixed and band with other runaway native tribes and became known as the Seminole, from the Creek word Similuni, Simonuli, which literally means runaway, from the Spanish word Cimarron. So now we are a combination of Moor, Olmec, called African, and Black Native American, as one family have become known as the Black Native Americans. The constitution of the Yamasee Native American Moors of the Creek Nation. The influence of Carthage had spread, including the countries of northern Africa and even half of Sicily. Italy was controlled by the Carthaginian Empire under Hannibal's great military prowess. In fact, conquests were made in Spain and Corsica also by Hannibal's father, military general Hamilcar Barca, who made his son Hannibal swear to be an enemy against Rome, and he was so much so that he traveled across Europe from Spain, Iberia, through France, Gaul, over across the snow-covered mountain tops with elephants and down to Rome, and succeeded, starting out with 149,000 troops over various nations, 200 horses from Spain and 21 elephants from Africa. Carthage itself means new city in Punic, the Phoenician dialect spoken in Carthage, and the name Carthage comes from the Chaldean word Kartadasht. Hannibal had such excellent military strategies that enabled him to defeat armies much larger than his own. He was considered a Phoenician by location, but by birth he was from the line of Phut, the third son of Ham in Genesis 10:6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. Note his father's name is Hamilcar. The Libyans also descended from Phut. Phut had a wife named Lib, Heart, of whom the country of Libya was named, meaning my heart. They were an ancient Nubian people who lived in northern Africa. Many people migrated to Egypt, through Genesis 10:13 to 14, Ludim and Lahibim, Anamim and Naphtim and Pathrusim and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistine, the Palestinians of today, and Caphtorim, who are related to Phut by Mizraim, the brother of Phut and the father to Lahibim and Ludim, as found in Genesis 10:13 to 14, and Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lahibim, and Naphtim. The Libyans, Egyptians, were a warlike people who fought with Mizraim Egyptians continuously to invade it. They even joined in with the Sea people, who some call Phoenicians, against their brothers, the Egyptians. They lost many battles, but many were won. Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. The Egyptian paid the Libyans in land grants and they eventually settled in Lower Egypt with their families called the Sahel. It is now the part of West Africa between the Sahara Desert in the north and the forested zone of the south, all the way to Chad and Sudan called a semi-desert. The term Sahel or Sahelian is also used to describe a region. All the way down to Mali, Ghana, Togo, Niger and both Nigeria and Liberia. As they increased in power they became rivals of religious men in the court. The rivalry allowed the Libyans to increase in power and at this time the great Shishak also called Sheshong I was able to take control over Upper Egypt, and Lower Egypt ruled over Egypt. Upper Egypt was south and Lower Egypt was in north, because the Nile River runs from South Africa and feeds into the Mediterranean Sea up north. Shishak was a powerful military commander of Egypt and the allies and mercenary forces in the city. This Libyan pharaoh started what is called the 22nd dynasty and ruled with his wife Karoma at his right-hand side. This really should not be surprising, because the lands, now countries, are right beside each other and they are the same people. The borderlines didn't exist then and empires and territories overlapped each other. Today most Libyans do not look as their ancestors did who were Moors Negroids with nappy hair. A modern day Libyan would be Muammar Gaddafi who looks like a modern Sicilian, Roman Italian, a mulatto, African Negroids mixed with Berber barbarian Caucasoids. Berber is where the word barber as in a barbershop originated from, because they are hairy people, bearded ones, shaggies. Italy is located diagonally across from Carthage. Yes, the original Italians were black as were those Sicilians. They call them Greco today. They were invaded and their seed mixed with Edomites, Syrians meaning hairy and Canaanites. The head of the Roman Empire descended from Romulus and Remus in the Edda text. Rom is another name for Eden or Eden, the home of delight of the wolf people who were hairy or covered with fur like most Italians are covered in fur today. The wolf tribe of the Roms were shaggy like the dog star Sirius, which means hairy from its bright appearance. Rom or Romil was also a title of the serpent worshippers. In the Nobles Quran there is a chapter called El Rum chapter 30 and Romania is the home of the vampire. Note, Romulus and Remus the founder of Rome were suckled by a wolf. The name Romulus and Remus came from an ancient female clan called the Etruscan of the genus Romulia, the she-wolf mother of the two sons. People who have hair all over their bodies inherited hirsutism, which comes from hirsute which means hairy, bristly. Carthage became the center of Carthaginian power in the Mediterranean after the 6th century and was later destroyed by the Romans at the end of the Third Punic War 146 BC. Punic is the Latin interpretation of the word Phoenician. This translation is an example of how words are interchanged to fool a person who does not know these languages. This goes back to the example of Lord, which is translated into English for different Hebrew words only to confuse the non-Hebrew or Aramaic reader, because you do not know the difference between all these terms for Lord, in each language, yet, because you can no longer read your original languages in which the scriptures were revealed, as the true Ishmaelites, Moorish Arabic, Syriac, Israelites, Hebrew, Aramic, and many others. That's why it is so important for you to do your research and learn the real language of the original scriptures. Throughout what is the First Testament, Moses' Testament, this confusion is also demonstrated with angels, as sons of the Elohim gods, judges, angels and humans as sons of Elohim gods. Job 1:6 makes it clear that angels are sons of Elohim gods, judges, angels as Bain Elohim. Now there was a day when the sons of gods, Bain Elohim, came to present themselves before the Lord, Yahayu existing one, living one, and Satan came also among them. So Satan was a son of the Elohim gods, judges, angels also. Genesis 6:1-2 makes it clear that these sons of gods, Bain Elohim, were not of Adam's seed. And it came to pass, when men, Adamites, began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of gods, Bain Elohim, judges, angels, saw the daughters of men, Adamites, that they were fair, tob, agreeable, good, and they took them wives, Nashim the plural of Ishah, of all which they chose. There are good, tob sons of Elohim gods, judges, angels and evil sons, Ra, of the Elohim gods. Job 38:7 puts them all together, and calls them the morning stars. Job 38:7, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of gods, Bain Elohim, judges, angels, shouted for joy. In Isaiah 14:12 Lucifer is referred to as a son of the morning. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, Hylel, son of the morning, Bain Shakar, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. Note that Job 38:7 used the real Hebrew word for morning, Bakr, and is Beker, in Moorish Arabic. So you see the word Bakr for morning. This is how you know that the word used in Isaiah 14:12 for morning as Shakar, is a name of a being. This is not the word for morning as in sunrise. Shakar means blackness, Halel means lights. Shakar was Halel Lucifer's father, for Lucifer as Halel was the son of Shakar, and as Genesis 3:15 clearly state the serpent will have zerah, offspring, seed children, generation. So the devil is also called a light in 2 Corinthians 11:14, Job 18:5, Isaiah 5:20, Isaiah 9:18, Hebrews 6:8, and Revelation 19:20. So the devil has his light or fire, which is amber colored. He, the Caucasoid race, is melanin recessive. They cannot stand the direct rays of the sun without getting cancer and dying. They can't stand the light of the Most High God, the sun. It burns him up, Psalm 58:8. It won't hurt melaninite children blacks. And Yeshua Jesus is also called the morning star in Revelation 22:16. I Jesus have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. That's the sun, the star you see in the day. Psalm 84:11, Matthew 13:43, Psalm 27:1, Matthew 5:14, John 8:12 and 9-5, Ephesians 5:8, and Revelation 22:5. In 2 Peter 1:19 you see Yeshua Jesus as the day star. 2 Peter 1:19, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the day star, Phosphoros, arise in your hearts. Make note that in Job 38:7 the word for morning is the everyday use of morning beker or borer. In Moorish Arabic, it's bukra, meaning early, but when it comes to Isaiah 14:12 it's not the usual word for morning beker. It is now shakar, morning, which really means dark, dim, blackness, black, and is used as a name of a person. This is where you get the anthems used in both American and Britain. Oh say can you see by the dawn's early light, the dawn is Shakar and his son is Halel or son of the morning. This is the Luciferian chant or anthem. Black is not just a color, it is a state of balancement.